Alright, so we had a Japan turn. They did 12 infantry and a carrier. So he's bringing 3 fighters. I think he's planning on sitting into 34, which he realizes with all my air there, he needed to have 2 carriers with his battleships and cruiser there. It takes a lot for me to attack that sea zone, I'll be honest. But it's good to make him have to build a carrier, because if he didn't, I had my 2 bombers here, so he didn't want me to be able to go, a 1-2 knockout there. So we will move along. um, let's see. Oh, he raided Russia again. Guess what? He didn't get shot down. He hit again. He connected again. Took Novo. Took Persia. Looks like he didn't have any losses. Oh, Avinkai. Okay, so he did lose 3 infantry trying to take Avinkai to my 3 units. So that's okay. And yeah, 5 IPC. All right. So, US. It's getting a bit complicated. I actually want to keep C Zone 10, I think, because if I can keep transports here, that's going to put more pressure on France. So he's going to have to pull more units this way rather than going to the east. So I need, with him having 3 bombers here now, I need 1 more fighter down here. I need a destroyer added to here. And I need to keep my 2 fighters up here with this destroyer going down. So we're not building an air, so I need to remember not. I'm going to send 1 of these fighters down, 1 of these fighters over, but I cannot use this fighter to attack Baltic. Instead, I'm going to use my bomber for that. I got to remember to make sure I remember to keep 2 up there, 2 fighters up there. All right. So with that said, there's my 1 fighter left to fly back. Those tanks are blitzing through. And we'll be pulling the rest of that back into Karelia, that coming into Karelia. I think that's all the attacks this turn. He is going to be coming. He's got 3 transports down here for transporting over, units coming over. So although I can plug Persia with my Russians, he's going to be able to bring 6 ground units a turn. So I'm doing 4 transports here. I may need to consider building more in the upcoming rounds, or just use them just to slow Japan down and let him commit units going this way and just delay them long enough for us to take Germany. One thing I do need to point out, I do need to be careful that we are hanging on 8 of 9 on the victory city. So at some point I need to pop in a transport down here and just take Hawaii back real quick. But since we're stacking Karelia, so that'll be good, and he's not getting into Moscow yet, so he's got a while to get another victory city, I believe. But we do need to keep that in mind. All right. That. Can you do anything useful? Oh, look at that. You can hit that guy as well. What? what it looked like. We conserve one infantry. We'll just do one infantry trades with each of those, and then 2 air in each of them. And then Russia, if I don't take one of them, Russia can march a guy in. Alright. Alright, where are we going to first here? Continue those hitbacks. Glad I sent 2. And another hitback. Erg. I'll have to decide if it's worth sending someone there or not. I decided not to do the take and send the tank because he did send 1 infantry back to defend that. Ugh, man. Well, dang. Didn't want all those hitbacks. I like having these U.S. infantry just for shots at different spots. Oh, I haven't moved the fighter yet. I'm like, why can't I put my fighter up there? I need to send him down here first. Then you can go up there. You guys go back. Get all those cycles. So we got the 6 guys coming for the 3 transports. Now we're going to have the transports here, transports here, transports here, all that can hit France. Oh, yeah, all these spaghetti noodles all over the place. So this bomber can still get down here and help hit any of these guys. Anybody not moving that should be moving. believe that's everybody. Oh, nope, that's not everybody. I think I got off a unit. I've miscounted somewhere. So there'll be 9 left over here. 6 are going to him. 3 coming up. So that means one of those guys can go there. Huh. How'd I do that? Oh well. Alright. I think that is it for the US turn. So I could put my 4 here and 2 here, which I'm kind of counting on. I could repair here, but why bother? You know, maybe he'll inefficiently overbomb that. So we're just gonna save our 4 IPC this turn, and we're gonna put a blocker in here. So we're just gonna do that. Now I'm counting on those 2 to come down this way, so kind of stinks. I'm just gonna leave that one open. He can't attack from it at least, so these guys aren't gonna get collected next turn. Aside, instead of risking a fighter, we're just gonna go ahead and sacrifice a tank, and my my double movement of the tanks is not as useful now as it was, so I think I feel comfortable with that at this point. And what do I want to do here? Alright, I had enough moving pieces. I just want to make sure I got all my pieces correct here. Are you kidding? Come on, Mr. Tank. Whew. Okay, that was much scarier than I wanted it to be. And the main reason being is 'cause I was planning on building 4 infantry there, and I didn't want him to be blitzing his tanks through there and getting tanks by, 2 tanks with all this air attacking. Anyways, long story short, that was much tighter than I would wished it to be. Ooh, there we go. That's what we'd like to see. I know I traded a little heavier. Normally I would have gone 2, but by doing that, He's only got 3 transports, so he can only take 3 of these. If I hadn't killed both of them, then he could have moved 1 here and taken the 3 there, and he wouldn't have been afraid of this C zone. So, and I want him to be afraid of the C zone. Now, let's see. Count him to be able to help clean up there. About what? 25 infantry. I need 4 more going that way. The rest coming down here. And now he's backed in, pickled into a corner here. So I think he's going to come back down to here, which would make sense, but he's got to be careful because I may be getting close enough to come down into the Baltic. At the very least, we'll come down, we'll stack down into here, hopefully. And then come back down to Caucasus. We'll see. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but I think that's what we need. So, there we go. Alright, guys. So, I made a blunder, and it's not game ending, but it's definitely going to shift things around a bit differently than I wanted them to. But before I get into that, we'll go into Germany's turn, and some of you guys may already know what that blunder is. We'll see. But Germany to buy 10th infantry and artillery. He is now raiding the UK, which not good. He took Baltic, and then he moved his stack to Ukraine, which is what I had predicted he would do. The part that we're in trouble at now is the fact that when I made my last second changes over here, I did not leave enough Russians to dead zone Novo. So he can move his stack into Novo this turn. And that obviously creates complications. I do not want Japan stacked next to Moscow this early. So then I looked at, okay, so what does that mean exactly? And what that means is that on Russia 14, after Japan stacks, I'm going to basically need to pull everything back into Moscow, even West Russia into Moscow, and I'm going to have to let Caucasus get traded by the Germans here. And that means Japan will take Kaza, which means India flows freely. So, and then of course that leads to Africa being a tougher battle than I was kind of hoping for. So hopefully we move in here. We get enough to dead zone Japan. And, I had to, so it seems like it wouldn't require that much, but he's got 1662 that'll go in this turn. These 6 presumably are going to follow in here, and then they'll be able to go in the next turn. And we got to remember, he's got 8 fighters on the board and 4 bombers that he could position this turn to land there the following turn. So, round 13 he moves them in. Round 14 Russia makes their adjustments. Round 14 Japan pulls everything they can in, and then 15 is when. So it's Russia 15 that I'm already trying to calculate, trying to dead zone Novo, which in of itself is going to be tough because, again, he's been bombing the heck out of Moscow successfully. So it's going to take everything I got for all of this, plus 6 infantry, plus 8 fighters, joining all this to dead zone that. So I know maybe I overreact. Maybe it's better to hold this and keep this plugged and just let him build there and just stack Moscow. But I'm not over here yet, so I just don't want him next to us yet. So it kind of changed my plans, if I had not goofed that, because what I had done is I had planned on those 4 artillery being with this group originally when I had done all my plans, but then I needed them over here to stack West Russia. But anyways, I was going to be able to stack Baltic this turn by moving this stuff and a couple fighters in here. I was even going to be able to kill this guy, blitz tanks through, and maybe even block his tanks being able to come in here, so it'd be an easy stack on Baltic. And if I'd been able to stack Baltic, then he was going to have to give either Ukraine or France and pull back in. And then I started thinking, again, this is all just assuming I had not goofed this up. Then I started thinking, well, if I went to Baltic, what would happen if he went to West Russia? Or, Caucasus, since all of that wouldn't be help dead zoning any of that. If he got into West Russia, because I was thinking I was going to shift to Caucasus, Baltic stack. If he just threw everything into West Russia, then I would be kind of pulling in, and then Japan would be getting there, and he'd have a pretty deadly 1-2, while although I'm next door to Baltic, he still had, quite a lot of ground here versus my mixed multinational attack. So then I started thinking, okay, well, what if we stacked Belorussia instead? Because then that would be putting a squeeze play on him with a Belo-Caucasus stack. We would be putting a squeeze play so that these guys would have to back out. Which was where I was heading towards until I realized I'm going to have to pull the Russians back to do what I want to do. Because I don't think letting Japan get a permanent stack is worth pushing them out of Ukraine at this point. So we're going to bring all of this down to stack West Russia, start prepping Russia back into here to create a dead zone border. Even though we won't be able to stack, that means we're going to be starting to have to trade heavier. So anyways, that's the big picture. With that being said, when it comes U.S. turn, I'm going to try and get some infantry, get these U.S. infantry in here as well, so that maybe we could return back to a Kaza stack, by leading with the infantry U.S. Going in, and then all these British and Russian planes could come back and land. I don't know that that's going to happen, but this is what we got to do to prep now for recognizing my mistakes. So I'm glad I'd recognized my mistake before he was sitting there. Not that it doesn't really change UK's turn a whole lot, but all that said and done, looking at it, I need 8 fighters to finish up here. So 3 of these UK fighters can be free. So we're going to utilize them to make some moves here. All right, so the good news is he used 2 bombers. He did not get shot down. So neither bomber got shot down, but he only did 2 IPC of damage. Too bad those snake eyes didn't roll for the factory, but I'm thankful that he only got 2 hits, because that just let me still be able to build 8 infantry for my 4 transports. So, that's going to be something. If he's going to start bombing the UK and he's going to start eating into African income, UK needs to be grabbing as much income and being conservative as we can with it. So we're going to try and grab 6 this turn. So the interesting setup here too with the fleet-wise is if I take Northwest Europe, none of the bombers here can go 1, 2, 3, 4, but they have nowhere to land. So none of the Japan Air Force is threatening C-Zone 3 then. If I come down to C-Zone 8 instead of 6 like I did last time, if I come down to 8, I've got Americans that can come help reinforce for the coming German turn, which will have these 5, and I have 3 bombers going up there, which, you know, again, we got these guys that can shift, so we may end up going back to C-Zone 1. I haven't really thought that out, but we should have plenty to defend there. But again, we only have to worry about C-Zone 3 defending 3 German bombers for this round. So since we got only 7 here, we're just going to use the 1 to go ahead and take him. That does mean I am planning on 2 fighters to come back down to C-Zone 8. So 2 fighters it is. One of these fighters I'm planning on coming down here, so he can't help, but 1 fighter I'm just going to land in West Russia, so he can come help here. I can't go all the way to there. And then I got my bombers, which, maybe I should start doing SBRs. We're at least going to use two air on here. And then I got the extra bomber. I was going to just make sure I hit one of those, but should I SBR? Alright, here we go. I'm generally not opposed to bomb raiding. I normally do it. But I'm just... He's had so much luck with this strategic bomb raiding. I had such poor luck. Let's see. I know he has not lost one yet. And let's see. So... 6... Oh, I bombed him once. I don't remember bombing him once. I guess I bombed him in round 2. I guess that's the US one going. But anyways, he's done 6, 7, 15, 26, 31 IPC of damage on me. And hasn't lost a bomber yet. So, okay. I could blitz here and come back, but he could also blitz his tanks in air and crush them, and I'd rather the tank getting over here, just getting everything we can in to help defend West Russia so we can pull as many Russian units out as we can. I think that might be it on the attacks. Sorry, I know this is a little bit of a longer turn, but I needed to explain my total goof. These guys, I can't do anything with them. They're just going to sit. Throw back to the old days. No whammies, 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 no whammies. Why is this so predictable, this game? I know I should have done it. Come on, game. I need a little help now. Well, at least we got the income for UK this turn. At the cost of a bomber. God! I swear I knew it was going to happen. was thinking about moving the UK guy back, but I really don't think I'm going to need him for trading at all. So I think I'll just keep him up here because he's not really, I mean, I suppose he could blitz a tank through if he wanted to, but I'd rather keep him on this side and again just help as many of my guys out of here as I can. Let me double check my Kaza stack real quick because I don't want to goof this up after everything I've done so far. So we got 3 AAs, check. We got 16 infantry, check. We got 3 artillery, check. We got 2 tanks, check. We got 8 fighters, check. And we got 2 bombers, check. Like I said, good news is income for UK since he's going to start bombing me, it looks like. I just had a heart attack. I didn't see my fighters. I was like, where did my fighters go? Alright. Ah, so frustrating. Alright, so good news, bad news. The good news right off the bat is he did not stack Novo. I do think, as I mentioned, I think that's a mistake by him. I think he should have stacked it. I think he probably missed that he could have, just assuming that I had all these, all these guys sitting down here that he wasn't going to be able to. So that's good news. Bad news, Japan expansion starts and he bought 15 infantry and artillery, so he's building up nice and strong there. He also moved his transport over here again. I keep thinking I want to build a sub over here just to prevent just a single transport, but I do have the one, at least to make it a 2v1. So I'm not going to do my tank build. Maybe I should. I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing a tank build. I think I'm going to hold off. And if he does take it, then I'll get it for an extra turn and I'll have to address it. So yeah, so here the war for Africa starts, and he's got a lot of troops he's going to be able to start punching through. The good news is we're going to be able to keep Gaza stacked just slimly. We're going to keep West Russia stacked, but I'm going to have to give up Caucasus because, again, I wasn't planning on him not doing that, so kind of I was giving up Caucasus based on my previous, how UK played to start with, because I would have done some things differently. But anyways, regardless, here we are. We're going to have to give it up for a turn again like we were doing before. But I'd rather still be sitting in Kaza than him sitting in Novo right now. Sorry, so continuing on here. So yeah, so we're going to make the best of it what we can and take some shots here. So I was leaning towards 8 and 2 just so that I'd have a little extra money over for next round. I could go one less and then one less artillery and build a tank for over here to counter that, but I kind of don't really want to build another tank. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I am building an air because I need to distribute 4 air amongst my 3 US sea zones this turn, and then help these guys out a little bit. Now initially I was going to be able to blitz in here and kind of smoke these guys, but that was when I was going to do one of these stacks and I could land my fighters there. So that's off the window. No more blitz through there. We need them for defense down here. What we are gonna do, take a shot on him. That's one infantry there, right? I can't see. Yeah, one. So we'll do the 1-1. I think that might be all my attacks for the US. Big battle here. Need the 2 hits. I'd love to take it. There we go. We got the 2 hits. A big whiff by him would be really nice. Yes! Finally a Dice God moment for me. It's not even really big Dice God, but it was a big battle nonetheless. Now I didn't think about what leaving the Suez open means here. I don't think it means much. I should have looked at that a little closer, but I'm not sitting in the med anymore, and all he can do is just send reinforcements, you know, on up this way. That yeah, I don't think the Suez being open is a big deal. So we're bringing in a cruiser to help support the UK there. We'll have a battleship carrier, 1 fighter here for 3 bombers. We'll have 2 destroyers, carrier, fighter for 3 bombers. And we'll have a carrier, 2 fighters, destroyer for 3 bombers. I am going to go ahead and switch over because these are some kind of tight ones. Alright, did we get everybody? I think that's everybody moving. 8 for 4 transports coming. Right, yep, 4 coming in. I think that is it. Takes a little bit more concentration here because there's so many things going on. Now this does mean he can probably do some landing people and fighters and that sort of stuff in here, so we'll see what he does with that. That's 10. 4 for these guys, 6 for these guys. They got their 8. This guy will just come back to the US state side. Alright. We're going to build the 2 that we can build for free up here. And then that means that gives me the even, and now it costs 4 for each infantry I want to build. 1 for the spot, 3 for the infantry, so I got room for 4 more. So frustrating to have to do so much repair work. I just wish some of these bombers would get shot down, because that would make my life a lot easier if we could just get a couple bombers shot down. Alright, so now I apologize if you can hear my son in the background, but alright, I'm gonna pause for just a second here. Okay, so I was trying to see if I could still do something like this. I was really debating doing like an infantry, artillery, and 2 fighters. And I know some people are going to be moaning, don't send less than they can fire back with. But it's so tempting just because this is such a tight game to try to take everything that we can where we can. And, you know, I mean, it's like a 50-50 I take it, 90% chance I win. It's profitable. But I think I'm going to go 3-2, and I think I'll still be able to pull back enough to dead zone here, as well as stack West Russia. So I think that's what we're going to do. Oh, wait. Hold on, I know what else I was going to do. All right, so yes, so before I do anything more, I forgot about the good old war report. So we had 26. So 58, 98, 102 to his 87. So we are still running a slight increase, but all of that's getting bombed away with the strategic bomb runs. This is, like I said, I don't like their attack power. I don't. I think it's a rough estimate. I don't know exactly how exact. Yeah, how about that? Exactly how accurate that is. I mean, one, like I said, I don't think it takes into the account of artillery giving the infantry the bonus. I think it probably gives the artillery the 2 that it is and infantry a 1. But we're talking about attack power and not defense power, because 99% of the time, at least hopefully 99% of the time, the artillery is going to be paired with a infantry. So I don't really pay too much attention to this. But comparatively, here's at the end of the round for my guys. So let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. So here we go. Total units, IPC value, attack power, defense power, attack strength, defense strength differences. Again, negative being allies favored for the allies. And you'll see this last round where I had been kind of making, ever since round 7, making fairly steady progress. An okay round here, but we still gained IPC and attack value strengths. Round 13, we actually dropped a little bit of IPC. We dropped a little bit in our attack strength. But essentially, it was a toss-up. The problem is he's going to start, if these strategic bombing raids keep working and he starts getting some Africa income, he's going to start turning this around unless we get some favorable trades along the way. So we've worked hard to get this back under control. We're still ahead of where the game started, certainly. So, and positionally, since I didn't give up Novo, I'm okay with our position overall. And you can see, so like my computation is Axis has an attack power of 298 and Allies has an attack power of 309. And again, I know it's computed slightly differently, but defense power 425 to 407, and then there's my attack strength, defense strength. My army strength, slowly but surely, we've been chipping away and getting a stronger army. Axis still has the advantage in attack powers, or at least in defense power. Attack, we're getting about equal, and then Air Force and Navy, I still have an advantage. So, in any case, there's a quick catch up on those stats. Ooh, nice. Man, see, I should have gone with the 2. Of course, it would never hit that way then. I hate seeing 3 Russians sitting down there. That's such a waste to have 3 guys go down there. But at least UK will get the value of the territory, and it prevents them from dropping airplanes to stack there while I have my the rest of my guys sitting here. I believe, and I'm going to go recheck. So I'm going to build 4 guys. We'll have 20 infantry, 7 artillery, 2 tanks, 2 fighters. I believe this is enough to still dead zone Novo. I'm just double checking. 2722. He could move 20 infantry, 6 artillery, 2 tanks. So yeah, that gives us just a slight dead zoning. I think I might feel just a wee bit more comfortable with 1 more infantry, just for my own sake. Even though he missed out on that opportunity, the fact is despite all of this, he can still stack Ukraine if he wants. So even if that 1 infantry doesn't change that fact. I do wonder, since I brought the fighters in here that I wasn't planning on initially, I wonder, could we slide the tanks back? How safe are we sliding these 2 tanks back to here instead? Kind of like that idea, because now at least they're helping put some pressure, forward pressure onto Ukraine as well. So Yeah. So I'm going to double check that. I'm not going to sit here and have y'all sit here while I'm doing that. I may or may not put those tanks in Moscow just depending on what I need for the cause to stack. But there we go, end of the round. Okay, so this is really shaping up to be a rather interesting game to say the least. Interesting mid game here, and rather complex to be frankly honest. Um, because we got all these mixed units and turn orders that we got to worry about and whatnot, especially when we start getting down into the cause of defense and shuffling units around here. So this is between advancing and stacking and defending. It's a really rather a challenging moment here. I'd be really comfortable if I could just have a three-way stack, but that's just I'm still far away from being able to do that. So I really want to try to create something here. But before I even get there, the one good news thing that I would say is even if I had the Russians just turtle on up into Moscow, currently the Russians got 11, 37, 47, 53, about 60 units or so sitting here that can defend. So to defeat 60 units of defense, you're going to need probably about 70 or more units of offense. And his main stack here has 25, 31, 34, 37. You bring these guys in, that's still just like 49, and these guys get in. So, I mean, he has got a while till Japan's going to take Moscow, even if all I did was turtle Russia. That's the one positive I'm looking at. The negative is because because I want to advance the front line up here, I'm going to have to slow down my reinforcements to Africa, which means I'm going to concede some territory in Africa and fight for what we can, but we're gonna have to concede some ground in here. I am kind of counting on him continuing. The good news is he is pushing units. Not all the units are going through here. He's pushing some units back that way. I do need to remember my UK guy up here. So the other bad news thing is I knew I should have looked at what the leaving the Suez meant, leaving it open, and basically that means he can use a transport to come hit these guys with all this air and destroy my bomber and have control of northern Africa. Um, so I'm going to try to be a little discouraging on that, although that's a little bit of a challenge. In that, the good news is I got two carrier groups here that can come in here and catch fighters coming across here and some bombers. Plus, he wants to continue to load C-Zone 34. So he'd have to protect C-Zone 15, 34 together, as well as continue to protect C-Zone 61. So, anyways, we're going to do a lot of shuffling of fleets. This is going to get really kind of complex because I'm going to do some mixed fleets turn order stuff here in C-Zone 8 and C-Zone 5 and 3 and just hope I don't goof this all up because I probably will because I did it in the last game. So, and that wasn't near as complex as this setup is. But basically, my whole goal is I want to move my stack to Belarusia. But he's got quite a chunk here, plus the Air Force gunning it down. So I really I want to leave my Russians back. I'm really going to need a lot of support coming in. And I'd rather not, I want to use every single American and UK infantryman coming in here. So my plan is to distract one transport, US transport, to come in here. We'll have enough backing that he won't want to attack that with these guys. And then we'll have the UK come in there, which will distract Japan from attacking, and then the Americans pull out, and because we're going to build a destroyer with UK this turn, that would be getting him 5 units in here to distract there from the Germans one to attack. It's a lot. I'm still thinking about this. I'm going to pause and my own head is wrapping around this. Okay. After pausing in hindsight and talking through that, that's just sounding more and more too crazy to me. So we're going. I'm still wavering as I'm talking. Um, I really don't. I just don't want to get all these fleets all mixed up. But at the same time, I want to get these fighters over on the mainland so that they can come down to Kaza and not having to be held here. Hmm. We may just take the pressure off of 10 for a second. So we're going to be. I mean, this all goes to the U.S. turn too, right? So it plays a role in all of this as well. So if we're sending 6 transports back, we're taking 4. That leaves him, or 3 transports for 6 men. We go ahead and just send him back to C Zone 1 for a turn. Then we can move the battleship carrier up here to defend. Or actually even into here. And still leave this guy so I can still transport down and not slow Africa. If we end up moving the US down here during their turn, Germany then would not strike. UK pulls out, and it depends on what Japan would have left. Okay, I think we're going to go that route. Because I want to get these fighters off of here, so UK is going to need some help still. But if we just defer not loading in C Zone 10 and go ahead and load back here for a turn again, it'll take some pressure off here and it'll allow him freedom to move some units up. But if that helps us get the stack, and basically what all that means is I'm going to have to use a little bit of the more the Russian infantry. I was just going to use the 2 Russian infantry coming in, but we're going to have to use, maybe 5 or 6 Russian infantry into the Bellow stack to help hold it, and then just accept the fact that we're going to trade West Russia and Caucasus still. And I think that's the route we're going to go. All right. All that said, boy, this is why I talked. Oh, yeah, German. So they continue maxing out their ground production. The good news is he's only producing 11, so the fact that I'm not trading Italy is more just about, it's 1 unit a turn that I'm not getting. At least he's not producing 13 units there right now. So Caucasus, I did give it to him for free last time. That's right. Belarusia, he took with 1 infantry without a loss. Baltic took without a loss. Northwestern, he lost one unit on that attack. And everything else, he's just positioning in here. So the good thing about a bellow stack too, would cut off the. So if you look at it how I am right now, I've got this 2 stacked. I'm trading a 4, a 2, and a 2. If I come to bellow, then I'm going to be trading a 4, a 2, a 2, and another 2. So I'm going to be forcing him into 1 more additional trade, plus cutting off his supply line to Ukraine here that he'll have to now start using his supply line down this way, which is going to make a Baltic stack, secondary stack, that much more easy. Eventually, just kind of talking through the future steps there. All right. Whew. So 5 infantry, 2 artillery. I do still want to go ahead and build a destroyer down here, because if I can get them to have 5 units, that at least matches Germany, so US doesn't have to continue to support them if the UK wants to continue to operate on their own down here. So I don't really like buying extra ships, and I got a lot of Navy going around here, but because I really want to keep trading down here as many as I can, we're going to go with it.
I'm just not going to talk myself out of it. I'm just going to hit it and go. I've talked myself too much already. I could do a bombing run. What do I want to do here? I mean, you could support up there, but I mean, 16 units missing should not be an issue. Yeah, cruiser. I was gonna say. Hey. Alright. So we got 2 cruisers and a carrier. All he's got's 2 fighters that can reach for Japan. And then we're gonna bring in Americans to support versus Germany. Oh, and we're gonna have our destroyer build too. So. Oh, don't want to forget about. Don't want to forget about this guy. In hindsight, I probably should have left a UK guy back for continued trade here. So I'll probably leave, 1 US or 2 US guys back to trade over here so that I don't have to use the Russians to trade so as much. But, all right. There we go. We're on the move. Hopefully in the right way.